What's up, guys? Another Week 10 matchup focus. This time we've got Georgia playing Florida, neutral site in Jacksonville. We've got Georgia winning by 1.5. Vegas has that line around 6.5, so obvious lean goes to Florida. In this case, guys, I think you've got a serious perception issue for Georgia. And the main thing that I'm concerned about in this matchup is more times than not, when you have these good teams, these top, talented teams, your Oklahomas, your Clemsons, when they end up having a real serious scare, typically they have that bounce back week. And I worried that for Florida fans, that Georgia didn't have that opportunity against Kentucky. I know they did, and they really struggled a little bit in the first half against Kentucky. But in all honesty, that game was played in a monsoon, so you didn't really get the full effect of what that offense was going to try to do. So that could be the excuse for a bounce back for Georgia. At the same time, you can make the argument for Florida having a much more difficult test up to this point. Really played LSU, which will be our number one team in the playoffs. Committee release more than likely in the next week or two. So really played them tight before Trask threw a pick in the end zone. That game was very tight up until that point before LSU was able to turn it around and drive back down the field for a touchdown. So those are the kinds of things that I worry about as a perception thing against Georgia. I think that they have trended downward. As you can see, we've got them down 6 points compared to where they were roughly 6 weeks ago, whereas Florida is about 6 points up from where they were about 4 or 5 weeks ago. So I think that anytime you have those kinds of situations come up, that you've got an opportunity for one team to be overvalued, which in this case would be Florida, and some teams to be undervalued, in this case Georgia. So more times than not, we want to be on the undervalued team and staying away from the overvalued team. That's the only thing that worries me from a wagering perspective on this matchup. With that being said, I don't know if the line gets up to 7, how you don't take a flyer on Florida in this matchup. They've been battle tested, and really think that they have an opportunity to win this outright. With that said, like I said, we do have a talent discrepancy on Georgia's side. So if they play a clean game, don't turn the ball over, I think that they win. But I don't think that they're trying to stretch this game at the end of the game, trying to make this a 10-point game. Wouldn't surprise us at all if it's a 6 or 7-point game late. Georgia's trying to run the ball out, punt, and rely on that defense. If that's the case, then if you can get 7, that's a great number. If not, I think that you might have to take a pass on this. But with that being said, guys, great game on deck. Really excited to see how both of these teams perform, and really, how good is this Georgia team, and how much ground has this Florida team made on them in the East. So with that said, guys, until next time, take it easy and have a good weekend.